Okay, I got a little time in between customers, and folks ask me a few times, I've seen in the comments and even during the live shows, what is my opinion on Israel and why do I never talk about the whole Israeli Palestinian Hamas conflict? So today I'll go ahead and take a little bit of time out because I saw something that really speaks volumes to how I feel, even though I haven't stated it much in any of my content. Now, I'm going to be flat out. October 7th was an atrocity when Hamas invaded Israel, taking the life of over 1,000 Israelis. Folks from other countries, I believe there were several Americans in that crowd and folks from other countries as well. Outdoor concert, they're snatching up teens, they're taking the life of elderly, killing babies. I mean, it was awful what happened on October 7th. So no doubt the sovereignty of Israel was invaded. So they have a right to defend themselves, and I'm not going to take that from them. If it happened in the United States, you already know how we would act. You see what happened on September 11th, and America got involved in a 20-year war because of that. We invaded anywhere we thought bin Laden had ever been. So I'm certain we can criticize Israel or favor Israel, or whatever the case may be. We know damn sure how America would act if someone came into America on our soil, took the life of hundreds of people. In that case, it was over 1,000, but took the life of 1,000 people in America. We know how we would act. And keep in mind, Israel is only the size of a place like New Jersey, like the state of New Jersey. That's about the size of Israel. So their population is significantly smaller than America. So them losing 1,000 people, simply percentage-wise is a hell of a lot of casualties. I believe I heard someone suggest that the amount of casualties Israel suffered on October 7th is akin to about 10 9/11s. And we lost like 3,000 people on September 11th, over 3,000 people. So imagine losing 30,000 people to some sort of an invasion. We lost about 2,000 in regards to the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th. So just imagine losing that many people and how America would act. We would all want blood. So you can only criticize Israel so far because we know most countries would go apeshit if something like that happened. However, my opinion is this. With October 7th on its way to being 2 years ago and the attack in Gaza still going strong, I do believe Israel has probably went above and beyond, just like I believe the United States went above and beyond. We were going after bin Laden. We went into Afghanistan, disrupted their country. We completely destroyed whatever harmony was going on in Iraq. And our damage in Iraq still exists to this day. We kind of just removed their government and left them in a very uncivilized fashion. So I believe we overdid it, trying to get revenge on bin Laden. And I do believe Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel has overdone it as well, trying to get revenge on Hamas. Now, someone did a piece on this, which triggered me to do this live. Comedian Bill Burr has a special going on. I'm only going to play a quick snippet for copyright purposes and things like that, but I want you to hear what he has to say. Now, he's being viewed by the right with a bit of disdain. We'll talk about that on the other side, but check out what he has to say, because I think this really alludes to the issue of why Israel is taking so much criticism.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that, but it's still socially acceptable to shoot a missile in the general direction of somebody you're upset with. You're like, dude, there was like kids over there. This is my favorite response. Well, they're using kids as human shields. It's like, well, you got to work around that. Jesus Christ, if I'm mad at my neighbor and I want to beat the shit out of him, but he's holding a baby, right? I wouldn't come in and try to punch him through the baby. Yeah, you go in, you throw a hook, you sweep the legs. You do it on the lawn so the baby bounces off the grass, all right? There's fucking rules to this shit.
Right through a baby, you see him making the comedic reference to it. That has validity to it, though. If you are a wanted terrorist, the Israelis will have no problem blowing up a school or wherever you go to take refuge. And the West, including America, are defending Israel and saying that the terrorist was wrong for going into the school. As Bill Burr rightfully points out, you're supposed to work around taking out hostages and innocent people. You don't just destroy everybody and suggest, well, he ran by them, so he had to kill them all. And that is what Israel is doing. And they're doing a lot of that. They started out the war by suggesting that Hamas was hiding weapons and even bases below hospitals. So they just blew up the hospital. Damn all the patients that are inside. They started out that way, literally suggesting that Hamas was hiding under schools. Then they blew up the school. You should not be in the school if you know they're there. If you're a child and you're in school, knowing that they're in the basement, then that's your fault you got killed. This is how Netanyahu, many in Israel, and even in the United States have been responding, that they should have known better. But I do believe Bill Burr makes a good point that you're supposed to work around it. I do believe we were even trying to do that, at least publicly, to some degree in Iraq. We were trying to avoid, just an insane amount of innocent casualties. Publicly we were. I'm not going to say anything beyond publicly because we don't know what the hell our military was doing outside of what you were told, what was on television, what was broadcast. But publicly, America was trying to avoid just carpet bombing and random killing. Israel is not trying to do that. At this point in Gaza, they're just bombing rubble. They've destroyed virtually every usable structure in that country. And the citizens that are alive still are using rubble for shelter and refuge, and they're just blowing that stuff up. They literally are just blowing and exploding rubble. So Israel, in my opinion, has went way too far in the claim of self-defense. At this point, there is very little chance that an Israeli citizen is going to be harmed by Hamas or a Palestinian. They're just blowing them up for the sake of revenge at this point. Hamas is not putting up any legitimate fight against Israel. And in fact, Israel's went above and beyond and started going after other factions that did not like them as well, such as the Houthis, such as folks in Yemen, and even the nation of Iran. The Israelis have used October 6th or 7th as an excuse to really take out all of their adversaries. And for the most part, us in the West have backed it up. Just real quick in regards to Bill Burr, a lot of my MAGA fans are no fan of Bill Burr because he has taken on a bunch of liberal causes. Now, Bill Burr he is the product of an interracial marriage, and he's been married to a black woman for a long time, so I'll leave it up to that. Leave it up to you to decide why MAGA doesn't like him. But he does now defend many left-wing causes. So a lot of his right-wing fans have abandoned him. Let no one ever tell you that the right does not involve themselves in cancel culture. Dixie Chicks, Colin Kaepernick, the NFL, the NBA. When the right hears shit they don't like, Bud Light, they're quick to cancel people too. So Bill Burr is getting that. But let me know what you think. Do you believe that Israel, even to this day, spring of 2025, some, 18 months after October 7th, are still defending themselves? Or do you believe, like what I'm stating, that they had the right to self-defense originally, but what they're doing now is essentially amounting to carpet bombing with no concern of innocent casualties? Let me know in the comments. As always, feel free to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.